everybody. My name is Chelsea. I'm with CLIPA, which stands for the Christmas Light Installation Pros Association. I only have a really short window of time today, so I'm going to try to teach you guys as much as I can about the business and where you can take your holiday lighting business. We do a bunch of really cool stuff at CLIPA. We are located in Southern California, but we do trainings all across the U.S. So we have certified trainers, too, that are in every region you can think of in the U.S. So wherever you guys are at, we have people that can support you and your business. A little bit about me. Born and raised Orange County, California. I've never left. I currently live there with my husband and my daughter, and we're expecting a second due early next year. I never imagined my life selling Christmas. This is not where I thought I would be, what I would be doing. As a little kid, Christmas was great, but I grew up with a single mom, no money. So Christmas was fun, like we had a good time. She did the best that she could, but it wasn't like a bunch of gifts and extravagant stuff. So, but I always remember her doing the best that she could to make it a really special experience. And so I hold that with me as I help clients and I design really fun projects and do really cool stuff. So a little bit about my journey. What has kind of like brought me to my position and where I am today. When I was 18 years old, I moved out of my parents' house and I was living with friends. And they were like, hey, you have to have a job. So we need you to go work at this place. They hire anybody. And I'm like, what is this? And they're like, it's a call center. Just go, interview, and they hire everyone. Like literally, I went in for the job interview and they were like, can you read? I'm like, yeah. And they were like, cool, you're hired. And what I was selling, I had no idea. But I'm sure you guys have received one of those calls about your vehicle's extended warranty being expired. That was me. And I remember that job the first day I went. I read the script. And I had rocks in my mouth, I messed up, and I was like, I did a terrible job, right? And I went home and I cried, and I told my roommates, I said, I can't work there. This is terrible. This is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. Like, I'm a freaking telemarketer. And they were like, hey, we don't care about how you feel or what you think about this job. Like, you have to go until you get fired. Like, you have rent to pay. And it taught me a really, really good lesson. At the time when I was 18, I didn't know what that was. But it really prepared me for, like, my sales career that I was going to have. That stupid telemarketing job, I worked there for a really long time, like 7, 8 years, and did that forever. And I've never been able to get off the phones, right? So in like 2015, 2016, I was like, hey, I've been on the phones my entire like adult life. Like I want to try to do something different, right? Maybe I'll go back to college, do all these things. And it was funny. I took a job working for this company, and then they were like, hey, you have phone experience. We want you to be in admissions. And basically, I was working for a high-end mental health facility that took people like movie stars and influencers. You have depression, anxiety, you get a DUI. You pay $100,000 and you live in Malibu. And it was a burnout job. It was really hard. People would call in crisis, and I would have to like help them. And, we'd be on the phone for 30 minutes, and then I'd be like, yeah, our packages start at $100,000, not including doctor's fees. And that was really hard for me because people are calling like, trying to save their life. Like, what can I do? And I'm like, have to ask them for a lot of money. And I called my friend. She had been selling commercial Christmas for 17 years. And I was like, hey, I freaking hate my job. And it was November 15th, by the way. And if you're already in Christmas, November 15th is like hell week. That's like the worst week that you could be in Christmas. And I called my boss now. I didn't know. And I was like, hey, hi, my name is Chelsea. I'm looking for a job. I have sales experience. He was like, that's great. We're hiring for an accounting position. Do you know how to use QuickBooks? I was like, well, I know how to use like Google and watch YouTube. So he was like, cool, you're hired. It's a seasonal position. We can give you a few weeks worth of work. So I was like, whatever, I'll figure out my life, right? And I go and I start working for this company. And I had no idea what I was in for. It's so funny. We joke around about it now, but like, I'm that seasonal employee that's still around years later. Been with them since 2018 and grown with the company. Today, I'm the sales and marketing manager. So I get to do a lot of fun stuff like this, meet installers like you guys are future installers. And then I also sell decor packages and programs to cities, shopping centers, and casinos, all the way from Southern California to Vegas. So I've got to work with a lot of really, really fun projects, install some really cool, expensive stuff. And I never imagined what Christmas would do for me. And for me, I work for someone else, right? But I've been able to write my own paychecks based off of the comp plan and just doing Christmas year round. So it's very lucrative. For me, I would say the best part, and I'll get into this a little bit more, It's easy for me. I'm a sales rep. I'm a commission-based employee, so for me, I work the comp plan as I'm selling jobs and I'm selling programs. For me, I'm like, what's going to make the company the most money? Because that's going to make me the most money, you know? And so what I do is I translate everything that I do on the job. I account for every bulb, clip, everything that's sold on the job. And then I have all of those numbers so I can translate that to my boss and say, this is exactly what we're making on each job, right? And so that's taken a lot of years, a lot of systems that I built, a lot of programs, of course, a lot of messing stuff up too. So what we do is we take all of our experience and we give that to you guys so you don't have to make the same mistakes that we did. That was like a quick synopsis on how I got here. We always say like professional installation training is one of the most effective ways to retain your annual clients. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to install Christmas lights, right? We can all use YouTube, we can use ChatGPT, we can use all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's the hands-on experience, and it's like running the actual business that people need help with. These are just some statistics so that you can see like why commercial Christmas lights. Over $8 billion are spent in holiday lighting every year and holiday decor. I'm sure, as you guys know, you guys go to Target, Walmart, anywhere you go with your family, the Christmas decorations are already up. In July, they already have that stuff out, right? To be honest, nobody cares about Halloween. No one cares because Halloween is one day, Christmas is 2 months. We have all of November and December. So people are prepared for it. A lot of people hate seeing Christmas decor out in the summertime. I love it because all they're doing is planting that seed for my clients. So when I get in front of them, they see a yard sign, they see my marketing, they're already expecting my call. Oh, she's coming. Yes, I've seen the stuff out. They're already prepared. So don't think of it as like, oh, this is a drag. I think of it as I'm like, yes, money's about to come in, a lot of money. This is what I work for all year long. So for you guys, are probably thinking, why commercial Christmas? For you, of course, we think commercial Christmas of commercial clients, but also all commercial grade products. Everything that we suggest that you use is all commercial grade because it's going to last a lot longer. Depending on the decor, it can last anywhere from 3 to 7 years, all in how you take care of it. Everything can be custom cut, tailor-made. It's meant to last. Most of the products that we offer are all the same products that Disneyland uses. They all come from the same factory. So high quality, meant to last. If you're new to this industry and you're like, does anyone here currently sell Christmas? 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. So just 3 of you. For the rest of you guys, if you're wondering why should I add this on, you're going to supplement your off-season income by adding this to your book of services. You guys already have an existing client base. So for you guys, you can market to them. They already trust you. You've been on property, so it's easy to add this on. You can retain some of those quality employees. Oftentimes, it's a good way to performance pay, keep people pay, give them some extra money during the holiday season. Very high profit margins, which I'll get into here shortly, and then you can scale your current business. So it's a lot of fun. I will tell you this, Christmas is not for the weak. It is probably the most stressful 6 weeks of your life. We always say, if you're not crying in the month of November, you're probably not selling enough, because November is the craziest month. My family, my friends, I'm like, please don't call me during November. I just need to get through this month, and then we'll be okay. Okay, so here's an example. I know a lot of people came by the booth. They were like, what can I expect for my profit margins? I'm going to give you a range for residential and then also for commercial, so you can compare and see what that looks like. So your profit margins for the first year are going to be a lot smaller. We recommend that you guys when you're selling this service, you're not selling the lights to the customer, you're leasing or renting. It's an all-inclusive service, so you guys are going to put up the lights, you're going to maintain them, and then of course you'll be back to take them down because you own the lights, right? So first year, because I have to purchase those supplies, my margins will be around 30 to 45%. All depends on where you live. If you're here in the Atlanta metro area, you're probably going to experience a 45% profit margin. But if you're somewhere like Alabama, Mississippi, you're probably going to be at 30% your first year, right? Whatever you do, do not sell the customer the lights. People who sell customers lights are typically not in business for very long, because what's going to happen is that person, we get so many calls all the time, like so-and-so installed my lights last year and they're not around. Well, your pricing's more expensive, of course, but we're still around and we answer the phone. Because it's all commercial grade, like I said, it lasts 3 to 7 years. My profit margins are much higher year 2 because I already own the products. Now, if Mrs. Jones I install her lights for 2 years. She decides to not renew. She moves. She passes away, whatever that is. I can take her lights, use them on someone else's house. So I'm saving money that way. And then here's another example of, just to give you some numbers too. So yeah, you have your $900 in gross, $300 in product. And that's for like 150 feet of roof line, 10 to 12 strands of mini lights. Your labor cost is about $216, and you're looking at about a 42% profit margin, just to give you an example of what that would look like. Second year, same job, you don't have the product cost, so you're at 76%. Any questions about residential? Okay, commercial, you're going to see obviously a really, really big difference. Commercial projects, and it all depends on where you live, but shopping centers, cities, casinos, theme parks, entertainment venues, HOAs, that's when we're thinking about commercial, right? And those projects can range anywhere from $3,500 to $500,000 plus. We have installs in our area that are over $1 million. You have to remember the commercial pipeline, which if you guys have commercial clients, is a lot longer. So things that I quote this year, clients that I meet this year may not close for 2-3 years, right? They have to get those budgets in and things like that. One thing about especially the commercial clients is it's recession proof. They already have budgets set. They're already spending money. For them, they need to drive traffic to their business. They need to spend the taxpayer money that's already allocated for that holiday program, so they already understand. Obviously, you can see here, this is an actual client that we have. The first year, the project was $65,000. Our cost for lights and decor was $20,000. We had to rent a lift, and then our labor. So you can see our profit for that project on the first year was $40,000. When that client returns, oops, and I'm sorry, I don't have that on there, but the next year, I don't have that $20,000 in lights and decor. I'm using all commercial grade products, right? So all of that stuff can be renewed. This client, I use the same lights and decor for 4 years, right? We store everything in our warehouse. Everything's kept really good because it's a lease. That client this year, I pitched them an entire new program, but now I have $20,000 in lights and decor that I can use at a different center, right? In the beginning, you guys are going to have to, you guys aren't going to have any of this, right? And you're going to have to build your inventory. You're going to have to start small. You don't have to have a lot of capital to start your holiday business. What you need is the truck that you already have, the crews, the ladders, pretty basic, right? And then insurance. You have to have insurance, which I'm sure you guys have talked about today. Other than that, you can, you don't have a huge budget for capital to purchase product, when you collect a 50% deposit, you can use that to purchase your supplies, right? And then you collect that remaining balance upon installation. Now, I know the commercial stuff is kind of crazy. I just want to show you the potential and what Christmas lights can do for you guys. So your client, your ideal client in the residential world is going to be upper middle class, right? Those are the people who can afford your services. Your packages are going to start, depending on where you are, anywhere from $800 to $1,200. Most of the clients, though, you want to upsell. You're not just going to say, if somebody says I have $1,000, that's awesome. You have $1,000. Our average client spends about $2,500 for us, right? You're already pre-qualifying them. You're prepping them to spend more money. You can give them a good, better, best option. But most people, I would say, are going to spend, right? You want to plant that seed. They're going to spend about $2,500. I've already said that 3 or 4 times. When I go in person to do the on-site estimate, I'm saying the same things that I said online, right? Another thing that I'm doing, in every proposal that I send and every client that I talk to, I'm building value, right? All of you here today have invested in your business for information, knowledge, and training, right? So I let everybody know when they meet me, our company is trained, OSHA certified. We provide continuing education for all of our employees. We're constantly showing up at seminars, workshops to bring you the best products and solutions available for you. That's important. When I'm working with a company, I want to know that I'm getting the best for my money, right? And I am not my client. I am like a pain in the ass, right? If somebody comes to my house to do anything, like the landscapers outside, I'm like peeking out the windows. I'm like, did he miss a spot? You know, my husband's like, go away, like you're the worst. But I'm really frugal with my money. So every dollar I spend is really personal to me. Bigger clients, like commercial clients, for them, it's not their money, right? What they're doing is they're just in charge of finding the most qualified vendor, right? So you guys just need to make sure that whatever you're doing in your sales pitch, you're building value in what you guys do. So the types of clients that you're going to want to work with: hotels, resorts. This stuff can be really scary because it's all like interiors. You can work with an interior designer, or you can buy stuff like this that's pre-decorated and ready to go out of the box. Hotels and resorts are great. You usually want to contact like a hotel manager to get in contact with them. Like here, if you guys live in this area, just like walking around the downtown area, I saw like a bunch of lights up. I saw like those lights on the little things here. I'm like, oh, they need these replaced. All of those things are like things that you could do to easily encourage people to have a program or find out who does it. They also had some brochures. I don't know if anybody saw that, where they're like advertising for their holiday dinner. They had Christmas trees. Someone's installing that stuff. We absolutely love shopping centers. We work with a lot of shopping centers. The reason why they're amazing is because we do about a set of 8. They cut checks immediately. So in January, after we take down, I send over my new invoice for the following year, and they cut a check for a 50% deposit in February. For us, that makes a really big difference to have a 6-figure check coming in the first quarter of the year. So that's why shopping centers are amazing. They always have a budget. They're competing with Walmart, Amazon, all of those online retailers, so they have to drive traffic, and they understand why it's important to have a holiday program. Car dealerships, depending on where you are. Car dealerships can be awesome to work with, holiday or permanent lighting. You just have to make sure that you get in contact with the owner. If you talk to the sales manager, that end of the year bonus comes out of the holiday budget comes out of the end of the year bonus. So for me, I don't do a lot of haggling with them. I'm like, this is our price, this is what it is. Especially because they call in like November is when they really typically want stuff. But they can be a great source of off-season income. Churches, if you live anywhere where there's a lot of churches, churches always have a holiday program. They typically do something really special. So churches are really an easy way to get involved and get your foot in the door, and it could just be simple roofline lighting. They could want a tree. We have a couple mega churches in our area that they spend probably $200,000 every year on a holiday program, which is a lot of money. They have trees, they have tunnels, they have a bunch of volunteers that do stuff, but then they also outsource for some professional decorating as well. Restaurants are awesome, small jobs, easy to do. They'll often do trades too for your holiday party, which is really cool. If you guys have an end of the year party for your employees, they could just do some simple garland, greenery, trees, or roofline lighting. Really, really easy, but the trades are always super cool. And then cities. We work with a lot of municipalities and cities. They are, if anybody has worked with them, it's a love-hate relationship. Love because they always have a budget and they will keep you forever. Hate because they're slow to pay, right? You're dealing with the government. Everything with the government is really slow. But one thing that's amazing for them, just to give you an idea, I attended a show for the California Parks and Rec Society this year. I spent $2,000 on a booth. We drove a couple hours, and we were able to, in 6 months, make over like $150,000 in revenue just from that one show doing permanent lighting. So there is a lot of value working with cities, but you just have to make sure when you're contacting these bigger clients, you can float the funds for products and then, of course, labor. So you got to like make sure you have all that stuff. You have to have some capital in order to do these things, but they come back every year. They will refer you to everyone that they can. And then if somebody leaves one city and goes somewhere else, they will let you know, and they will let all their friends know. So love working with the cities. Okay, so I know there's a lot of information I could continue to go over. For you guys, if you're like continuing to start in your business, the best thing that you can do, and I always say you have to learn how to crawl before you walk, start with residential, get your feet wet. We have a bunch of resources to help that I'll get into here in just a minute to show you how you can do that. But the main thing is, right, you have to make sure, and revenue-wise, what you can look at when you're doing residential, you can do about $6,500 to $8,000 a day per truck, and that's typically with a 2-man crew or 3. 2 is ideal because you can get 2 guys moving pretty quick, but that's what you can expect to make revenue-wise. So I know a few of you have multiple trucks, and if you're still doing gutters in the wintertime, you're like, how do I take money away from that? The main thing is if you can allocate just one vehicle for that, you can see and test the waters and see how that works. Marketing-wise, Of course, if you have a huge budget, you can go out and do all the website, the SEO, the paid ads. You can do the every door direct. But if you don't have a huge budget for that, just keep it simple. Yard signs and door hangers. Yard signs are gold. They will make you a shit ton of money in Christmas lights. That is the number one thing that we recommend. But you have to be strategic where you're placing those yard signs. Are my ideal clients shopping at this shopping center? Am I leaving one at every house? Maybe you have to incentivize your employees to put the yard signs out. Everything we do, too, we use Company Cam. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. We use it for every project, right? Every big quote that I do, because that holds my team accountable. That holds me accountable. Company Cam is an amazing tool for Christmas lights. And then also making sure that those yard signs are out. We do love every door direct, but that can be expensive. Everything you do, you have to track. I'm sure you guys have heard that since you've been here. Just make sure that you're tracking all that stuff, especially when it comes to Christmas lights. Like I said, your client is upper middle class. Those are going to be the ideal people. And it's not just roof lines, it's trees, bushes, and greenery. All of that stuff is going to make you a lot of money. You have to be all-inclusive when you're thinking about it. So the stuff that we really love that makes us money, roof lines are great, but when you get into this bigger stuff, this is really where the money is at. I'm just showing you guys a few different things. We love to install big trees. Big trees seem really, really scary, but they're really easy to put up, so easy. What costs the most is storage. To give you an example, because we're in Southern California, real estate is very, very expensive. I have a client with a 40-foot tower tree that's 386 branches that we store at our warehouse. I charge them $45,000 a year just to store that tree, right? And that's cheaper than going and getting a storage unit. But I know what it has to cost, and I have to make sure that when I'm quoting these jobs, I'm quoting them accordingly. Because at the end of the day, if we're losing money on storage, we're not making any money, right? So those are all the things that I'm keeping into account when I'm selling these jobs, as I'm selling, and I'm letting my client know. And they know if they were to go store that tree and do it somewhere else, they're going to pay double that. So they would much rather pay it with me, knowing that I know how to store it and that it's safe. But trees are awesome, and greenery, garlands, we love all that stuff. Here's another example of some wreaths. And this is all commercial grade. This is not the stuff that you're going to get at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. You could go buy stuff there. You could go buy stuff at Home Depot, but you're going to get one season out of it. Maybe two if you're really lucky. This stuff is going to last me 7 years. 7 years, if you could imagine a 36-inch wreath, every year for the next 7 years, I'm making $500 off that wreath. That's a lot of money, right? And then it's only costing me $200. And then the first year, the labor to put it up is a little bit longer. But the next year when I go back, that hook and that eye bolt is already there. I'm just hanging that wreath up and going back. People come back. The average lifespan you're going to see with a residential client is going to be 4 to 5 years, right? Unless they move, something happens. One thing, too, is because the cost of everything has gone up this year, which seems really scary, right? Everyone's like, oh my gosh, are people going to renew? People aren't going to travel. People are going to be home, and they're going to want to spend money. That was the best thing that happened to us in 2020. The Christmas industry experienced explosive growth. It was a crazy year. People were buying Christmas lights like they were toilet paper. They were gone. Someone would call me and be like, I need 10 cases of lights. Call back 5 minutes later. I'm like, they're gone. Everything is gone. Because it was like people were home, and they'd rather spend that money that they were spending when they were traveling on Christmas. So there's a lot of value in it. If it's your first year, too, and you're like, hey, I don't have a warehouse, I don't have anywhere to store this stuff, that's okay. Take the imperfect action. Go out and sell the jobs. Get the stuff up. If you need to go out and get a warehouse or a storage unit after the season, well, congrats to you. That's a quality problem to have, and you can figure that out. Most of the time for just residential, you're just using those black tubs with the yellow lid. Really easy, putting the address on it, storing it somewhere. You don't need to see it for another 9 months. You just need to be able to categorize and know what you have in there. The goal, too, is you don't want any of this stuff left over. Right? At the end of the season, I don't want any inventory. I don't want any overhead. I want that warehouse to be empty. That is your goal. We always say, too, keep your inventory simple. People will be like, I want to buy $20,000 in decor. I'm like, okay, what are we buying? And they're like, I want every bulb color. I'm like, no, you don't. You want the least amount of SKUs as possible. Most people, 90% of people are going to purchase the classic warm white. That's all that they want. And then a few people will want multicolor, that Charlie Brown look, or candy cane. Right? That's easy. I can handle those 3 options. Pick which one works best for you. Keep it moving. So roof lines are obviously going to be really common. Most people are going to have roof lines. You can see here there's a commercial roof line, and then that's just a regular two-story house that's in Hampton, Virginia. Super easy. The house on the right, they have just the roof line lighting. They have the like gingerbread look around the doorway as you're walking in, and then that wreath. That's a $3,000 job. Really easy, right? The main thing why too it's expensive is you got to anchor in when you're getting into, how long is it going to take your crew? They got to anchor in when they're getting on the roof line and doing all those things. The goal is too, right? When I'm taking down and my crews come back in January or February, I don't want them to get a ladder off of the truck. Obviously, they have the wreath on this one, they will. But for the roof line, I just want them to take a hook with a pole and take the lights down with the hook and the pole and get the lights down that way. Another thing I'm going to do on the takedown is with my company cam, I'm going to have schematics of where my power is, where all that stuff is going, because year 2 should only take me maybe 3/4 of the time that it took me that first year. First year on a job always takes a little bit longer because you're not familiar with the lay of the land. But if you have everything inventoried in the right bins, ready to go, your team will move really, really quick on the reinstall. And then decorated garland. Garland is a love-hate relationship. It's very expensive. You have to fluff it. It's a pain in the butt. Nobody likes to do it, but garland will make you a lot of money. We have thousands and thousands of strands of garland that we put up every year. It sucks to store, it sucks to fluff, but garland is really where the money is at, especially for those higher-end clients. That upper middle-class client that we're looking for, they want this really pretty stuff because they're hosting, and garland gives daytime appeal. And then bows. We love bows too. This is all for daytime stuff. Just so you can see a little bit beyond the lights, this is the stuff that looks good during the day. Then you get into really fun stuff like photo ops, selfie stations, walk-through displays, illuminated elements. These are the pieces that make a lot of money, but they are very expensive. Not only are they expensive to purchase, but they're also expensive to ship. But they're very, very impactful. So if you're ever working with some commercial clients or anyone that's hosting an event, something like this really stands out, gets a lot of attention. Everybody is really looking for those Instagrammable moments. They want people to post, tag, like, and share on social media, and that's what these large pieces do. Just to give you an example, that walk-through ornament that you see, that is about $17,000, which seems crazy. To ship it to is another $800. However, that piece will last 7 to 10 years, and what I can do with that piece is I can rent it out every year for $20,000, right? But for them, could you imagine if you have a shopping center or a city and everyone is taking photos and I put a custom tag on it, and then next year everybody wants to come to your location because of all of the cool stuff that you have, because you got some cool photographs and because everyone was posting, tagging, and liking. That's why that stuff is important. And that's the stuff that I'm telling my clients. And I know it seems really crazy, but I am not my customer, right? I would never spend $20,000. I would never hire someone to put Christmas lights on my own house. That's crazy. I have a husband. That's his job. He can get out there and do it, right? But I'm not my customer, right? But I do believe that when people have these pieces and they make these moments, I've been to tree lighting ceremonies where 8,000 people show up that may not have a Christmas tree at their house. They may not have anything to do because they live in a poor area. They show up to the city event where there's the parade and Santa throws the glitter and the tree goes off, and all of a sudden these people have a holiday experience. And for me, that's what it's about. That's why I do it, because nobody cares about, is it in the right place? Does this ornament look perfect? All they care is about that experience that they're having at that time, the joy that they're having, and that's why we continue to do it. It is a little stressful, though, when you have 8,000 people and you go to plug in the tree when Santa, throws the glitter and you're like, please just light up, please. I've had trees, surge because everyone's, plugging in all of the power at the same time, but the tree always goes off. That's the most important thing. And then here's just some other stuff that you can see. Just really fun stuff. These are obviously really big pieces. But you could see just the tree wraps in the background, and then those spritzers, fun hanging stuff. Anyone can have that. But these are just impactful things that look really nice and do a lot for any area that you're in. And then patio and bistro lighting. This is also really big for the permanent lighting. Obviously, you have your permanent color changing roof lines, but this stuff is really easy to install. This stuff, you can charge $15 a foot. Won't take you that long to put up. but it looks good, it's easy, and makes a really big, impactful statement. That first photo that you see on the top, that one is, we took it at Christmas time, but the cool part about that client is I sold the job in September. We went out and installed the patio lighting, and then that was already done. That stays up year-round. And then when Christmas came along, we put up all the Christmas decor. So, but it looks really nice. This area is in East LA, which can be kind of like sketchy at night. But when we lit up all of those alleyways, it really made a big difference. Now it's like super walkable. They do a bunch of stuff downtown. So it was really impactful for them. And then permanent lighting. Everybody, I know I've talked to most of you here actually probably already installed permanent lighting. Is there anyone here that's already doing that?
No, but I know a lot of us have talked to you.
Yeah.
Start getting into it.
Yeah, so I know it's really, what the biggest hurdle I have with you gutter guys is you guys are like, I want to install one time and be gone. For me, I want to be on property every year, multiple times a year. I want them, when it comes to lighting, I don't care what it is, I want the clients to remember me forever. Even though it's permanent lighting, you're installing it one time. I will tell you this, and I'm going to go over the pros and cons in just a second. You need to sell maintenance, right? This is permanently attached to someone's home. Their investment that they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on, it's a luxury lighting system. If I drive a Mercedes-Benz, changing the oil and rotating the tires is not enough to keep that car from having some other issues. I'm going to have to do a little bit more, right? So that's how I'm building value and managing expectations when I'm selling this product and installing it. There's a bunch of different brands you can choose from. You really have to do what's best for you. Our company we offer a few different types, so it's really up to you. We don't like put you in a dealership or make you do that stuff. Some people like the dealership because then you get leads that are funneled to you. You have to do whatever's best for your business. For me, I like to be able to offer multiple solutions to my client because not all my clients are the same, right? This one that you see here, this is the same system we have at the booth, installed in the soffit, app-controlled RGBW. Really fun. It's your installer cost is about $12, $13 a foot once it's landed at your doorstep. And then you should be charging $35 to $40 a foot, which is a lot of money, especially if I'm a homeowner and I'm on Amazon or HomeDepot.com and I'm looking up Govee or Eufy, right, which is a retail brand. Of course, that's $200. This is $8,000. It's expensive, right? So I'm letting my client know right off the bat, yes, it's expensive. It's permanently attached to your home, to your investment. I want to make sure that I put the best system up, right? It has an aluminum track. I'm building value in everything that I'm doing, right? Because I want them to understand how serious this is, how important it is. That's how I am able to price high. If I'm just like, yeah, it's permanent lighting, it's great. No one's going to pay that. Well, I can go down to the street to the guy and get $25, a foot. You should do that then, right? But I know for me, it costs a lot of money to keep our company running. And I always say this, we are not the cheapest. We will never be the cheapest. And the reason why is we are a boutique company, right? We are a small company that offers a premium service. In order to do that, to provide education to our employees, to hold insurance, to offer you the best products, I have to charge a premium. The difference between me and the guy down the street is that when you call, I answer, or someone from the company will answer. And then on top of that, if you need to speak to the owner, you can. Because everybody at this company cares, and I truly believe that if everybody knew how hard we worked and how much we cared, everyone would buy from us. There's not one person that would tell me no, and I believe that. And I want you to know this too, I've sold without a catalog, I've sold without a website, and I've sold without photos, right? I've got out there and I sold myself based off of how I believe about the company I work for, and I've made a shit ton of money. So don't let anybody fool you that you have to have some fancy website, you have to have some catalog, and all of this other stuff. You just have to have the information. The knowledge is power, right? And keep it simple. Don't feature dump. I'm using terms that my client can understand. They don't need to know all of this. It's just app-controlled, intelligent lighting from your phone. You have the world at your fingertips. Want to try it? Easy. Done. Right? So just build value as you're selling this permanent lighting. It's a different sell than your Christmas lights. So that's where you just have to know the difference. Whatever brand you choose to sell, just get educated on it so you feel confident when you're out there explaining it to the customer.
So that comes with the app and everything.
Yep.
So you can change. See, like, there's a lot of us from Florida.
Yeah.
Pool cages, people love buku bucks every year.
Yeah.
Cages.
Another thing, too, with the cages that you should keep in mind is that it's all low voltage. It's 12 and 24 volt, which is relatively safer, especially since you're going to be around water. Those are things, too, that are good to educate people on. But it's really enhancing that outdoor experience for people so that they want to be home, they want to have people over and enjoy their space. So that's the stuff that I'm really like, oh my gosh, that must be nice. What's your favorite team? The Dolphins? Oh, did you know that you can go in here and you can preset the colors that you want with the touch of the button? Oh, and if we hook it up to your Wi-Fi when you're not home, you can change it when you're on vacation so everyone thinks you're home. Pretty badass, huh? Now you have security. So like all of those things are like what I'm doing. And I'm excited about it too, right? Because I'm like, hey, this is actually pretty cool and it's really, really simple. You have to simplify everything from them. People don't want to buy shit they can't understand. I apologize. I didn't say that, right?
Let's go.
But people don't want to buy stuff they don't understand, you know? So I got to keep moving. I know it's 2:45 right now.
No, you're good.
This is what the app looks like for that one that I just showed you guys, Surf Life, really easy, iOS or Android. It can hook up to some other devices that they have too, if they get like a smart lamp on Amazon or like things like that. I just wanted to show you guys that it's a universal app. There's a lot of things that you can do with that one system. When it comes to commercial properties, I sell something a little bit more robust. I just got done with a really big project at the Palms Casino in Las Vegas. That was a completely different system that we installed for them that they paid a lot of money for, but you just have to know what your client's needs are. What is the problem that you need to solve, and then offer them a solution. My favorite customer for the permanent lighting when it comes to residential are men, typically dads or grandpas between 55 and 65. They are like just now trying to get techie. They feel like they're really smart. An app to them sounds awesome, and they don't want to get on the roof. Perfect. I love you, and you're the decision maker. Let's go, right? Keep it really simple. Another thing, too, for me is I'm like, if my Christmas customer switches over to permanent, they are still my Christmas customer, because now that money that we spent on roof lines, we're now going to translate into photo ops, selfie stations, garlands, wreaths, the stuff that makes me a lot of money. So that's fine. I would much rather invest in the other stuff and give them what they want, and they'll still have those app-controlled lights. Let's see. Okay, got it. Okay, so I just want to show you guys really quick, holiday versus permanent. Your holiday lighting is seasonal displays, fast installs, removal timelines, heavily design-driven, and then budgeted annually, right? For permanent lighting, it's year-round ROI. That just means like there is no time that you're not going to install permanent lighting. Another thing to consider is if I have a customer that wants permanent lighting November 15th, which is go time for Christmas, I'm going to charge them more. I'm not going to tell them no because they're going to go to my competition. Sure, I will gladly install permanent lighting, and it's going to be 30% more, right? That's okay. I'm not going to tell them that. I'm just going to send the quote, because if they approve it and they submit the deposit, I'm making a lot more money, so I'm not inconvenienced anymore, right? It's okay. So you have to just think of those things. Permanent lighting is going to be permanently installed into the property, really tech and design focused. For shopping centers and your commercial properties, it's a capital investment, so that doesn't come from your holiday budget. Oftentimes, too, whenever I'm selling this stuff, whether it's residential or permanent lighting, if they're like, wow, that's really expensive, yeah, it is expensive. This is a professionally installed system or professionally installed holiday lighting. It's going to be expensive. If you want to do it yourself, of course, it's always going to be cheaper. But I'm using all commercial-grade products that are from a trusted factory. This is the same stuff that Disneyland uses. Everybody loves Disneyland, right? They're going to be like, oh, shoot, of course. So for you guys, this is just going to help you guys come up with your strategy when it comes to holiday lighting. Can I provide this service to my current clients? Yes, you all can. Where do you start to attain your new clients? Of course, you can start with your current book of business, but yard signs. Where do your clients, do you see any local cities, shopping centers? Also, like, where do you shop locally? If you live in a nice neighborhood, that's where my other clients are shopping. That's where I'm going to put out those yard signs. All of those things are really important. Also, who's on your team? Like, do you have someone who can answer the phone? I'm sure you guys have heard this over and over throughout this entire conference. If you don't have someone answering the phone, you're losing money. I will say this. I have, and I'm not trying to promote Tim, but I have a secret weapons VA. Okay. She went into labor this morning and was literally like doing stuff for me in labor at the hospital. Like, I will give Tim a testimonial all day long. Shira. But dealing with Aldrin, like everyone, like an amazing team, because yes, I'm the sales and marketing manager, but I don't want to post on social media. I don't want to do all this stuff. Literally, I said, this is our 3 brands. This is our concepts. This is what I need. She pumps out everything for me, does all the posting. She like emails people for me, fills my calendar, does all of these things to make it easier. Get a VA if you need someone to answer the phones, if you need someone to respond. get them now. You have to train them, tell them what you need, and then they'll get that done. But she helped me with my presentation. She just does all of these things that just wanted to plug Tim really quick because my experience has been first class with secret weapons. I've worked with other agencies before, and we had a lot of issues. But the VA makes a huge difference in our company, especially when it comes to Christmas, and we're moving. So highly suggest you do that if you don't have someone to answer the phones or help you with those emails right now. And this is what I was saying, like, do I have people on my team who love to research? Do I have people on my team who love to cold call? Where are you already successful? Like, look at those things and implement that in your business now. Use a VA if you need help with any of this stuff. I have trained a lot of people's VAs to do a lot of really cool stuff in the Christmas industry, too. So it's all about you and, like, how much information you can give someone. And then come up with your business plan. You know, is there people on my team who are educated on commercial Christmas? Do I have the correct insurance? General liability, workers' comp. I'm going to say that a million times. You have to have that. Do I have office staff that can support your sales team? And then are you able to invest in your Christmas company? All of these things are important to you as you're coming up with this business plan. So a little bit about us. Like I said, we're in Southern California, but we do have year-round in-house staff that can support you and your lighting business. We helped last year over $2 million in commercial bids, basically, for our Clip 'em members that we have. I said, I'll pretend like I work for your company. And we went out and we helped them design some really cool stuff. And we did the pitch for them. And then they sold the jobs. And then they just bought the decor from us in return. So we help with pricing the job out, what decor to use, how much to sell it at. We let them know how much they're making. And then in return, like, hopefully you can get the job. So we will hold your hand the entire way if we have to. We are actively installing, so we know what are the best products that are out there. What can we support you guys as you guys are out there learning? We do have also certified installers, like I said, all across the U.S., so depending on where you live, the markets, we have someone that can guide you as you're growing your business. And then, of course, we're distributors, too. So all of our members that train with us, they don't have to buy product from us, but we do give you a discount, and we make it hard for you to say no. So for you guys right now, we had a few people that are asking about training. You have two options. One, our last training event is actually Saturday and Sunday, this Saturday and Sunday in Tucker, not too far from here. Any of our Gutter Summit people that would like to attend that training, it's $16.95, and then you guys also get a $200 credit towards lights. In the event, if you're not able to attend this in-person training, you can also do the online option. We have 16 hours of training videos, forms, downloads, contract examples, an estimating app, and more. That way you guys can go back to and train your crews, your installers, your seasonal help. They can watch the videos that pertain to their job duties. Most importantly for you, we go over all of the operations of how to run a successful Christmas business. We take almost 30 years of experience and combine it so that you guys can be as successful as possible. And yeah, this is what I was just saying here, too. So come by. We're going to be at the booth for another hour at least. Alice and I. Alice is in the back. Do you want to wave your hand? I'll make sure, too, that you guys have my business cards. We also have a Facebook group with over 8,000 installers across the U.S. and Canada. The Facebook group is really cool to get involved in. If you come see Alice, we can make sure we get you access. But you can see what other people are doing, where they've started. It is an open forum, so as we get closer to November, people get pretty fired up about Christmas, so it can get crazy. But that's a really good way, too, if you're like, hey, I don't know if this is for me. Join that group, check out what people are doing, talk to some other people. And we do have a bunch of references, too, if you don't believe what I'm saying. You could talk to Tim, you could talk to a bunch of people here, but I can make sure that we get your questions answered. And then this is my link. If you want to scan this QR code, you can connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, email, phone, whatever that is. Always happy to do a Zoom call with you guys so that I can answer any additional questions that you might have. So thank you. Unless there's any questions.
Yeah, let's give it up for Chelsea. Thanks.